And welcome back to Lantern Corps. Today's Lantern Corps video comes to us from Nuscott, Patrick Acosta, and the Atomic Artist 64, who asked the question, what is the Lantern Corps of King Kong? This is going to kind of vary a little bit depending on what movie you go with. I'm actually going to get a couple of the ones I don't think he's qualifying for right out of the way. Kong is not an avarice lantern, first and foremost. The reason I don't believe that is because avarice is greed. You need to be greedy and unsatisfied. Kong is an animal, a kaiju. He's an intelligent animal, but he's not like wanting just to amass, to gather a mass amount of things just for the sake of it. So greed's out of the way. I also don't think he's Hope. While he might long for like a companion, like we see with Daryl, I believe that was her name, something Daryl. Anyway, the female lead of the original movies, or the original telling of the story, I don't see him being a Hope Lantern, and he doesn't really inspire hope in the traditional sense. Yeah, people might put their hope in him at the moment, but he's not someone just creating perpetual hope just by being there. People don't see him and go, I want to be a giant 60-foot gorilla. No. So I don't see Hope as it either. Although you can make the argument also that Kong hoped to find home, like his home and like his family with in Kong versus Godzilla. But I wouldn't say that either. Despite being alive, I also don't think he's a very good candidate to be a White Lantern. Just because you're alive doesn't mean you are, the best candidate to be a White Lantern. With that being said, though, I do think will is a possibility. You need to have great will and overcome great fear. Kong has to do that on a day-to-day basis. He has to fight giant monsters all the time. And he had to go up against Godzilla and Mechagodzilla. So, I do believe that Kong is, that Will is a perfectly adequate Lantern Corps for him. Compassion is one that I didn't consider until just this moment. But I don't think it's Kong's strongest suit, nor is it his weakest suit. Kong clearly does have compassion, being one of the more intelligent kaiju out there. So I just don't think because it's not his strongest trait, nor is it his weakest, that doesn't really fly either way. I also think that being a giant monster, fear is a good candidate. I mean, people see Kong, and while they might place faith in Kong, and might be able to work with Kong, as we see in Kong versus Godzilla versus Kong, he's still a giant 100-foot ape. So, actually, he's much taller. He's roughly Godzilla's height by the time we get to Godzilla vs. Kong. So, I mean, yeah, of course you're going to be afraid of that guy. Not that he means to, but you're going to be afraid of him. Absolutely. I don't also see love as an option. The reason I don't see love is because he cares, sure, but love can be lust, desire, all that, but I don't see it. There's nothing that really translates into Kong's character that we've seen that works with a Star Sapphire, so no love for Kong in that way. Depending on which version of the Kong you go with, Black has got to be on the equation because he dies in the original movie. He dies in the remake. He dies in the other remake, the Peter Jackson one. God, I got like something caught in my throat. He has not died yet in the Monsterverse, and he didn't die in Godzilla vs. Kong, the original one. But yeah, depending on what version you look at, yeah, Kong is a Black Lantern. That's just the way it is. Then you got the last one, Red for Rage, and I think this comes down to the more primal aspect of Kong and what he basically kind of has to do, and especially in the Monsterverse. This is where the Monsterverse takes over here, is that Kong, while just trying to live a peaceful life, also carries a lot of anger and resentment towards like the death of his parents and his species, what happened to his home, the ancient rivalry with Godzilla. I think there's a lot of anger in Kong, though he also is more than capable of, of being happy. I think he carries a lot of anger with him. So if I were to say what I think is the most likely Lantern Corps, I do think Rage is probably the least likely, but I think it's still likely, or a candidate, I should say. If we are going with the original movie, the Peter Jackson one or the 70s one, or was it the 80s? I think it was the 80s. Either way, the one in the 70s or 80s, then Black Lantern because Kong dies at the end. And if you're going with the last two, will or fear, I gotta go with fear, to be honest. I'm sorry, I gotta go with fear, to be honest. And the reason for that is Kong. Kong does have to overcome great fear, but he's kind of now in a perpetual state of this is my life. I'm used to this. And his willpower probably is strong, but due to the fact he's more intelligent than a normal animal. But I don't know to what capacity he would really be able to qualify for will. Whereas, yeah, people used to the kaiju's existing might be used to this, but that doesn't mean it doesn't scare the piss out of them. So I might have to go with fear on this, weirdly enough. Kong would be a yellow lantern, with green being the second likely, red being the third for any version of Kong that hasn't died, and then black being the most likely for a version of Kong, for all the versions of Kong that have died. So that is my take on what Lantern Corps I think King Kong belongs in. But that is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Put your thoughts in the comments below. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below, and we'll get to it at some point. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.